Secondly, if we have to have articulate our uh, research questions, okay, what we are looking for, what type of the information we are looking for from the responder or from any study, and what we want to be addressed in our research project. So basically, three things you have to be do. Number one, the objective must be clear and feasible. Question must be clear and understand to each others. And thirdly, that what is the objective, what we want to be addressed, and what type of the information we are looking for to be get through the questions. Select a research design. So there is a different type of the research designs. So common designs include the experimental. Suppose you are preparing some technical project and you are making some experiment, and then on the basis of that you can be declare the result whether this is the solution of the real world problem or not. Maybe you are making the observations, and then you can conclude the your answer of the questions. Maybe you are conducting a survey among the massives on the specific questions, case studies there, or the qualitative approach as well. So of course, each design has its strength and the limitations, positive and negative, or the pros and the cons. So select the one that best suits to your search question. So if there is a much more limitations that will not be suitable to your research project, or maybe you cannot conclude what you are looking for that. However, choose an appropriate research design based on your objective and nature of the phenomena you are investigating. So maybe the experimental is good for your project, or other way around, observation and the survey is good for your project. So identify the variables. So there is a two type of the variable, independent and dependent variable. Independent variable mean to say manipulated or controlled by the searcher. Suppose you are the searchers, you are controlling that variables. Or the second thing is that what's the impact, what's the dependent variable means impact of the independence variable on the research or on the objective or on the questions. So then we have to identify what type of the variable is suitable for us. Sampling strategy. So sampling strategy means to say how we have to conduct the survey, to whom we have to approach that, maybe the diversity. We are looking for the male, females, or we are looking for the each group of the peoples, irrespective if they are old or the young or the middle line, irrespective they are religion and the race. So we have to consider factors such as the population size. Maybe we are looking for the 500 peoples or 1000 peoples or maybe 100 peoples, and that must be diversified from child to old man. And then the accessibility, how we can approach them, what time we can approach them, what's the flexibility of that. Suppose we have selected some small towns, and then we can make an agreement with them what time the suitable for you, maybe from 10 to 11 o'clock, or maybe the afternoon, or maybe the morning time or evening time, where we can approach them easily. And the source available for the data collection. For example, if we have prepared the questionnaire, it must be printed in the sufficient quantity. Maybe we are approaching 200 people. This means we should have 110 or 20 printed question with us. Or maybe we need some transportation to reach over there. Maybe we need some device to record their interview over there. So then their sources must be. Or maybe we have to spend money to give some gift to attract, they must be participate in the survey or the sampling strategy. So next is data collection method. So again, the same thing. This could be a survey, this could be interview, or maybe observations, experiment, or maybe we have to take the information from the archives, research, or maybe we have to use the combination of all this methodology. So just to ensure that the data collection tools are valid, reliable, and culturally sensitive. Do not use such a words or such a examples which can create unrest among the community. Then the next is instrumentations. Make sure that whatever the methodology you are using to collect the data, that must be accurate, comprehensive, reliable, and through which you can get the accurate answer or near to be accuracy, and that can be a serve your purpose to be finalize your project amicably. So it can be a questionnaire, scales of observation protocol. So data must be reliable and the correct. So once you collect the data, then naturally we have to analyze that data. How we have to be analyze data? So we have to have select the appropriate statistical or the quantitative analysis technique. So whatever is suitable, we have to be adapt that to ensure that the analysis plan align with research objectives and the hypothesis. So if the data is accurate, data is not cooked. Maybe somebody usually do like that, they put some survey on the social media, Instagram or whatsoever, and then the one person is having the different accounts answering the same question to it. So that is the cooked data. So we should make sure the data is collected through the various peoples or the community which we are focusing on that. So ethical considerations. Obtain approval from the institution's review board or ethical committee if required to ensure that the research complies with the ethical guidelines and regulations. We discussed earlier, we should not make any examples which can create unrest with the religion peoples or specific community or maybe a specific race and nationals. So similarly, the question should be either the social life or maybe the economic life or some political or maybe some educational academic side. These type of the questions should be because since you are completing your study, so that must be relevant to your study to complete the project. Timeline and resources. So of course, we need little budget, maybe transportation, maybe the printing, maybe the electronic gadget, or maybe some functions of computers, desktop, or so ever. And the timeline mean to say if we have to have select our project, the timeline given by the maybe is a accreditation body, maybe the university, or maybe it's some department or institute. It can be a 3 months, 6 months, and years like that. And sometimes your research is so unique or the delicate, different NGOs or different industries financing the project. And if you are lucky to attract someone, so you can get the fund from the industry or some NGO or some department to complete that study, to help them to solve their problems which actually they are facing in their operations. The pilot testing. Pilot testing means to say conduct pilot studies of your research methodology and procedure on a small scale, just to be make sure that you are on the right direction, and finally you can be reached to the destination and get the conclusion of that. So if you feel, for example, you are taking the interview, first you have to take the interview of maybe the 10 people. So rather than align the 500 people. So once you feel that 10 people is understanding what you are looking for or they answering the proper question, answering of your question properly, so then you can extend. But if you feel that this community is not familiar with your research and they are not a right source to be answer your question, so then maybe you can adjust or twist to some other locations or community. Then the next question is justify why you selected this methodology. For example, quantitative or quantitative. So the number one, a research objective. So how you have to make a justify that this is the right approach for your objectives. Number one, this must be aligned with the chosen objectives. For instance, if the aim is to explore a phenomena in depth, quantitative method like interview or case study might be more suitable. If the goal is to establish causality or the generalized finding, then quantity-based methodologies such as experiment or survey could be preferred. So now you have to make a decisions. Okay, what type of the methodology is suitable to you? You are going to be generalized or finding casually, or you want to make a study in depth, so which ultimately make a solution of some problems. So research questions should be capable of addressing the research questions effectively. So it's important to ensure that the chosen approach provides the means to gather relevant data and analyze it to answer the research questions adequately. So neither the question should be so difficult that mass of public should not be understand, or maybe they have the language barrier, or neither this should be a so generic question which does not serve the purpose of your research. So it must be very ABC, accurate, brief, and very clear, so that the responder of your question must understand what's the underlying meaning of your question. So nature of the phenomena, what you are looking for, or consider the nature of phenomena under the investigation. So why you are making the research? What is your objective? What type of the research is carrying on? Who will be get the benefit of this research? Or maybe this research is benefited to the massive level or the specific community or industry. So therefore, we have to have detailed insights, while other may require quantitative method to measure variable and establish the pattern or correlations. So some phenomena may be better understood through the quantitative approach, and some are not, as we discussed in the number one's question, a research objective. They will have to have clearly mark out if this is in-depth study or we are generalizing it. So feasibility. So feasibility means to say we have to be look the time constraint or the available resources with us and access to the participants or data. So whatever the selected approach is, it must be a practical and achievable within the constraint of the research project. Although we don't have the unlimited budget, yet we have to complete our research project, so that we have to make a efficient and effective plannings to achieve the target within the constrained resources. So the plan must be a feasible, flexible. So it should not be a constraint. So previous research, we can get some information from the previous research, from any, you can say it's a book and the articles, or maybe some university data bank. So if similar methodology have been successfully in addressing the similar research question, so it provides validation for the chosen approach. For example, I have selected the quality-based research, and if I look into the data bank of any university and found, yes, there is a lot project has been completed on the qualitative risk assessment or a qualitative research project. So this means that my project can also be successful because archive data shows on the basis of this methodology, a lot other project has been approved by the panel of the peoples. So ethical consideration, whatever you are asking to any peoples, give them assurance to keep the data confidentially, to your name, to your answers, or any other information, whatever they are providing to you. Second thing is that just let them know that we are in process of the research and maybe we have to publish this data. So please give us your consent. We are allowed to be publish this data without your name, without your telephone number, emails, and whatsoever. Secondly, just to publish this data, it will not be harm to you. We will make sure that it must not be some mudslings to you. So therefore, we have to have ensure that the selected approach addresses to ethical guidelines and safeguard the right and well-being of the participant. Vice versa, if they are intimidated, if they are not confident whether you will be keep their name in a confidential, so might they will not be cooperate with you, and might they will not be give you the information which actually you are looking for. Maybe that will be a cooked information. So researchers' expertise. So those who are taking this responsibility to make a research, so they must be have some experience. They must be know how to be interact with the peoples, how we have to be procure their consent to publish the data, how we have to put them on ease, whatever they are telling us, this is the best interest of the industry or best interest of the community or the best interest of the education purpose. So therefore, a methodology that the researcher is proficient in the, maybe he's proficient in the experiment, on the observation, or to survey, or to interview. So then he can enhance the quality of the data collection and analysis if he's proficient in a specific, or if he's having the expertise in a specific methodology of the research. But he does not have any specific expertise. He is the you can say internee or the new persons who's conducting. So maybe the quality of that research is not as done by the experienced persons. The last question is be able to plan and prepare the research project. So planning and preparing a research object involves several key steps to ensure its success. So nobody wants to get the failure. Nobody wants to get the bad name case project was failed due to the lack of the quality, due to the lack of the quantity of the information placed over there, lack of the preparations, so lack of the flow of the informations, lack of the accuracy of the data. So here is a comprehensive guide to help you through the process. First, define search objective. We already discussed the objective must be measurable, achievable, relevant, and the time bound. Review the existing literature and the previous literature and look on that the gaps, trends, and area of controversy or the debate, and how you can fill the gap just to avoid the duplication of the effort. So you must be go through the literature and you just be focused on that particular topic where there is a gap. Otherwise, you have to have reinvent the wheel, which is not feasible because you have the time constraint and the budget constraint as well. So develop research questions, hypothesis, simple. Question must be simple, understandable, clear to general massive or the community which you focused over there. So language barrier should not be there. If you feel there is a language barrier, maybe you can use the local language as well, or you can help from the local people to translate what you are looking for and why you are looking for. So these should be focused, testable, and aligned with your objectives. So question must be specific. So choose a research design, as we discussed earlier. Design means to say what is your objective, what is the research question, what are the available resources. So common designs include the experimental observation, survey, case study, or qualitative approach. So determining the sample strategy, it must be a random or maybe is arranged interview or the question, or we have to have physically make a representative on the some populations to we give them briefing why we are searching and what will be the benefit of that research to the general public. Select data collections methodology. So this can be include survey, interview, observation. Develop a research instrument that must be tested, and make sure that instruments are valid, reliable, and culturally appropriate. Do not ask some questions which has some other sorts of the meaning. So obtain ethical approvals if you are looking for or you are taking some data from the archive like a ebook or journals and the university data bank. So you have to have get the approval from there. So plan data analysis. Once the data is in hand, you have to be make sure the data is correct, accuracy is there, and finally make sure that this data is aligned with your objective. Maybe you have the data that is the correct and whatsoever, but the answer given by that data, the data collected by you, is not relevant, not aligned with your objectives. So that will be a useless. Create a project timeline. Of course, we have to have complete our research with the stipulated time. So if we are getting late, so otherwise maybe the project is not approved. So just to be develop a detailed timeline, which includes the planning, literature review, data collection, analysis, and reporting. So allocate sufficient time for each task and set the deadline to keep the project on track. So if there is a 6 activities of the tasks which you have to be complete, and there's a 6 month, maybe you can allocate the 1 month for one task, or maybe the 15 days to the others, and so on and so on. And the second important thing is that you have to track that, whether I'm completing this task within the stipulated time or not. Otherwise, it will be difficult to be complete the 5 or 6 activity at the same times. And maybe the end of the time, you get some blockage and the influx of the information which has to be settled down. So allocate the resources. So there is a different type of the resources: the financial resources, administrative resources, logistic resources, or maybe transportations or whatsoever. Maybe you need some equipment, maybe you need some software. Okay, maybe you need some financial sources as well. So allocate the resources, whatever they're required to complete the project. So today we have completed the unit 6 as well. Again, we are going for the how to be complete the task. So task one, number 1 is the research project topic assessment. So choose a relevant topic and so on. So you have to complete this 3 step. Then the delivery and submissions. So this time you have to make a word count 800. So first three steps: choose the relevant occupational health and safety management issues, create appropriate research aims and objective, and formulate a detailed plan for the research project. So you have to explain in 800 words. Then the task number 2, literature review. So they give the guideline over here as well. Okay, once you are making some literature review, should be presented in a logical and constructed format based on the following recommendation: the purpose and objective, research relevant literature, evaluation of the research and data research methods, identification of themes, debates, and the gaps, evaluation of the arguments, ethical aspects, and conclusion. So you have to have these 7 steps to present the literature review report or the recommendations. So all comments and the statement in your literature review need to be factually sound, backed by the research and implementation result from reliable sources, and provide an adequate review of the topic under study. In 1200 words, word format, you can submit this report. So task number 3, you must ensure the proposals. So building on your work from tasks 1 and 2, first you have to research objective, then you have to literature review, then the third one is that your research proposal assessment criteria. The proposal must be contain 5 points. So contain appropriate and justified research aim and objective, detailed plan for the research project, critically evaluate relevant research methodology, justify the method selected in the terms of research, and finally proposes suitable technique to use the quantitative and qualitative data collection and analysis. So these are the 3 tasks, and you have to prepare the 2000 words report, submit it, and where you can get this information. So I added some more site as well, as like an NIOSH, OSHA, WHO, and ANSI. Maybe you can get it from the NEPA and whatsoever. So this is the area where, or maybe wherever the credible website is available, you can get the information from there as well as a reference. But make sure the reference should be relevant to the context. So if you have any question, you can ask the question. And if you don't have any question, then thank you for the participations. So can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Said, we hear you.
Okay. Today is the last day for this OHSM level 7s. So let's have a little discussions. How did you perceive the information which I have passed on to you in terms of verbal discussions or in terms of the written PPTX? So either it's suitable or beneficial to you, or the way I communicating to you was beneficial or not. What is your judgment?
Let's see our team, what they will agreement with us.
So, okay. You can take your times. You can be write it down in the you can say WhatsApp group, whether this will be helpful to you, or this will give you some guideline how to prepare your tasks. Okay, whether this will be help you to be pass this OHS level 7 diploma or whatsoever. I did my best to be provide you the latest information relevant to your requirements, and now it's your turn. Now you have to produce these informations in a different angle, so that there should not be a nobody can say like that it's plagiarisms or the reproduction of the same items. So you can be revise the wording or whatsoever, but one with the other, with the theme will remain same. the questions, and then the theme of the answer of that, maybe the heading will remain the same, because uh, these are the areas where you have to speak out, or maybe you can speak in your own language, but then it will be fine. uh, you can be easily grow and pass the examination. If you have any suggestion how we can be improve this interaction session with you peoples, even you can write it down in the WhatsApp, so that if we have the chance next time to be talk to the different group of the peoples, so we can be incorporate your suggestions to make improvement. Finally, on the behalf of the Fire Safety Management Institutes, I thank you, all of you, to be with me for the 2 week, to listen me patiently. So I hope you will get the value of that. If you have any questions, you can ask. So if there's no questions, you can take your time. So I hope you will be success in your endeavor and futures. Best of luck. So may Allah bless you, all of you, and give you the encourage to be move forward. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.
الله حافظ.
هذه القاعدة.
Okay जी, शान जी, Allah Hafiz, फीमान अल्लाह.
في أمان الله.